Hello friends, we are discussing about Laravel Eloquent relations. So we discussed about normal relations and what is Eloquent, and last we discussed about one-to-one relation, and in this video we are going to discuss about one-to-many relations. We are using Laravel 11 database. Suppose what is one-to-many relation? Suppose for single entry we have multiple records, means suppose we have a students table. You can see there is a students table and we have two records, right? So for a student John, right, if you take John, and John have three subjects, means there will have a subject table, and here you can see the student table. So for single student we have multiple entry in subject table. So that is the relations, that is one to many. So already created the students table. Let's create a subjects table and let's try to implement one to many relations. How to get data and how to insert data and all the things. How to get subject from the student or how to get a student from the subject. Okay, so both the things we will do. Okay, so let's create first a subject table. We don't have subject table right now. Let's going to create a model, php artisan make model. Let's take model name is subject and I want table, so we need migration. So let's enter. Sorry, there will be a space, php artisan make model subject minus m, so it will create one model and one migrations. Okay, so let's go here, and if you just go into the model section you will get a new table, that is subject table, and in the database section you will get the new migration, that is the create subject table. Okay, so let's create the subject table first. So here you can see one another things. This is the type, means in the Laravel 11 database we have per table we have a type, it is INODB, myISM. Okay, actually myISM does not support relations. Make sure we are using the INODB database. Okay, so now let's create the migration, and by default when I created my database, and by default I set it that my database name or database type will be the myism. That's the reason I need to mention when you're creating table, that is our table should be like INODB. Okay, so here we can define from the migrations also. So simply write table engine, and let's create, this will be the INODB database. So just mention these things. Now you all know that the table ID is basically will create the ID, that is the primary key from the subject table, and the timestamps will create the two things, that is the created at and updated at. Now I am going to create another things. Let's say subject name, or you can say the table, the string, and let's make the column name, that is the subject. So in this column we'll store the subject name, and we are going to create one relation column, mean I want to set the student ID here. So by that student ID we can understand for which student which subject is associated. Okay, so let's create a big integer, and let's mention the column name, that is the student ID, and also this will be the unsigned. Okay, now I don't need another things, but we need the relations. So here we can set the foreign key, the table foreign. So what will be the foreign key? Actually, the student ID will be the foreign key for this subject table. Okay, and here write references, which will reference the ID from the students table. Okay, so simply write ID and let's add on, that is the students table, and you can add the on delete cascade. Okay, you can mention that. Okay, on delete cascade. So our migration is ready. Now let's migrate these things. So php artisan migrate, enter. So it's migrated subjects table. Now if you go and refresh, you can see a new table is created, that is a subject table. If you go to the structure, you can see the student id, this is the foreign key, is created. And let's go to relation view, you can see the relation is perfectly created, right? So we have a students, we have a subjects. Okay, now let's add some data so that we can understand how we can create the one to many relations. So before that, we need to mention the relations. So here we don't need migration, just closing this. This is the subject model, and we are using the student model. So this model should have the relations so that we can get the things. So let's build the relation first. So here it is one to many relations, means for single student there may have multiple subject. So let's create a function, public function. Let's create subject. You can write subjects, so basically it will actually fetch the multiple record, so you can write in this way. So let's use the return, and this time the relations will be the hash many. Okay, so previously when we created the relation one to one, that time the relation was the hash one. This time this will be the hash many. Let's add the subject and then define this is the class. Okay, similar way, if you go to the subject table, you can create a function to fetch the student from the subject table. You can create this. So public function, let's call the subject, sorry, let's call the student. So here actually the subject belongs to student, so simply writes return this belongs to, and then you can write the model. Okay, so simply write student class. Okay, so these are the relation we created. Now simply add the student. Okay, so simply write new, create new functions, and here we need to use the subject table, sorry, subject model, app models, sorry, models, and the model name is subject. Okay, so we can use that thing. So this is the student controller, from that controller we're going to create a functions. So here write public function add student. Okay, so let's add some student. So for to add student, we'll use the student model. So simply write student, and let's say call the things, that is the student. Actually we're going to create a new object, so simply write new student, and just going to take this in a variable. There's a student variable, student new student, and here just insert some data. So in the model, in the table, we have a name and image. So just go to the editor, student name. Here you can write some name, that is Sunny, and let's add data, student for email. So you can write sunny@email.com, and then you can save. Okay, so student, save, and finally return student added. Okay, so now just call these functions, and let's see the student are adding or not. And we already define or already using the student controller from the web.php, which is a route. So simply just write a new route, route get will access through the URL. So add student. Okay, now just going to use the student controller in this way, you know that. And then class, and let's use the method name. So here my method name is add student. So let's use, just go here, and you should enter a new student. Okay, so student added. Now refresh the student table. So the students are added. Already we have 1 2 records, so this is the third record I added. Now I want to add some subjects for some student. Okay, so let's add some subject for John. So just go here, and here I will create dynamically. So write public function, and let's use add subject. We will specify subject, sorry, the student ID from the URL. So we'll take from that URL, and let's use the student model, student student model, and then find the ID. Okay, and here I will took in this variable. So I will first find whatever the ID is present or not. If present, then only I will going to create a subject, new subject, JECT. Actually this is the model name. Okay, so this is the model. Actually this is a subject, and we are using this subject, and based on this model we will add some data into the subject table. So simply write dollar subject, the subject. So actually this is the column name, subject column name, and let's write suppose math. Okay, and I want to add a math for particular ID. Means I will provide the ID from the URL. So simply here write the student, and then call the subject model, then call the student functions, and then we'll save. Okay, actually this student actually used for here has many relations. We are using the functions, and then we will save the subject. So when we going to save any subject, that time it will create a relations. Okay, so let's see, it will be more clear. Return subject edit. Okay, let's create a route again, and just write route get, and here write add subject by ID. Okay, and let's use the student controller, then the method name. Method name is add subject. Okay, and here I will pass the ID. We'll receive this ID from here. Now just go to this URL, and here write I have to add some data for John. Okay, so John ID is 1, so I'm passing 1 here. Call to undefined method app model students. So the student method is undefined. Why? Just go to the subject, and here you can see the student. Sorry, actually we need to use the student model. So students subject. Okay, so let's enter this subject added. So let's refresh here, there will be no effect, but in the subject table we'll get data for ID 1. Okay, so let's add math for ID 3 also, means for Sunny. So let's add, so it will add another data for 3 also. Okay, and I want to add some another data like physics for id 3 or id 1. Okay, so you can see there will be another record. Means for id 1 we have two records, for id 3 we have one records. Let's add some data for id 2 also, so use 2. And let's do another thing, history, and here just insert another data for history. Okay, so now let's see the subject table. So for id 1, that is John, John have three subject: math, physics and history. And 3 Sunny, Sunny have only one subject, math. And Rick has only one subject, physics. Okay, so you can understand, for you can take example for John. For John there is three record, means for one data there is multiple record, means it is the one to many relations. Okay, so we added very simple things. Now the thing is, why we did all the things? Because in Laravel we don't need to write any SQL query, we don't need to write any raw query. Actually we have Eloquent relations, and by that relations we can add or fetch data very easily. Let's get all subject by student id. Okay, means I will pass the id for John, and I want to see what are the subjects associated with John. Okay, let's check. So simple, let's create another function, public function. Here write get all subject by student. Okay, so I will pass the student id, and here just use the dollar student equal to the student with subject. And then write find. Okay, dollar id, and finally return the things, return dollar student. Okay, so we'll get the student details also, along with that we'll get the subject. Okay, so just go here and let's create a route. Get subjects by student. Okay, and let's you write student, sorry, student controller class, and let's use the method which I actually created. Another thing, we need to pass the student id. Okay, so all are good. Now just use this id, sorry, url, and let's check. So I want to get the data for one. Okay, so let's see what are the ones record and what are the related subjects. So here you can see we are getting the John, right? So the one id is for John, and we are getting the three things. There is the subject math, subject is the physics and history. We are getting the three related subjects along with the John. So we can easily do the joining. Is the one to many join, actually means you can understand how easily we can get the data. If you want to get the subjects for Rick, so simply pass this id as a 2. You can see the Rick is using the physics, or Rick has associated with physics. There is on one subject. Okay, so this is the one to many relations and how we can easily get the data. Another thing, if you want to get all the subject by the subject id, sorry, all the student by subject id, we can do that things. So simply just do the reverse thing. So let's go and here create another functions, just create another route. So route get student by subject. Okay, get all student by subject. So this is the functions. Let's create the functions. So simply write public function, and these are the functions. And here we'll do the reverse thing, means easily we can do this. So here we'll use the subject. So subject, and we'll use the subject controller, sorry, subject model, and then we'll get the subject functions what actually created. There's a student, so let's use the with student, and then find the particular id. Okay, and simply just write return the subject. Okay, so you can do very easily. So simply the url is get student by subject. I want to see uh, I want to see which student is associated for the one. Okay, so just pass one, so you can get the data for one, that's the John. I want to see the which student are associated with ID 2. So you can get the data for student also. So math using John. So here you can see these are 3. So 3 is, oh sorry, this is the ID 1, not ID 1. Actually it should be the 2. So right here 2. So you can see this is the Sunny. Okay, so for 2 it's related to Sunny. 3, great. Now another things, if you want to get all the student along with all the subject, you can do easily. So here just copy these functions and let's add these, so you can play. So get all student subject, all student with subject. We don't need to pass any id, and simply write get. We don't need to write anything, and we don't need to pass any url also. So simply just write here route get. Let's use the same things here also. So here write student controller class and the method name. This is the get all student with subject. So just go here and you can see the magic. The first John, the student ID is John, and the related subjects. Okay, you can see the math, physics, history. Then the ID is to Rick, is a student, and related subject is physics. Then Sunny, and related subject is math. So in this way, if you want to get all the student with all the related subject, you can do this. So just use the proper relations. Mean in the student model, you should understand, you should know what is the relations between the subject. So from the student you are creating the relations. So make sure that you are doing the proper relations, and it will get all the data. We don't need to write a single query. Hope you can understand. Thanks for watching this, and next day we are going to discuss about the many to many relations. Hope we'll see you soon. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye.